Sup my dudes, Oren is well. A little disclaimer before the video starts, guys. Doing research for this thing, I found a lot of Hebrew terms, which I probably won't pronounce right because, you know, Hebrew. So sorry in advance if anyone gets butthurt by that. Moving on. This guy right here was what inspired me to choose golems on this bit. I'm a Pokemon fan, and playing Pokemon is actually a great way to discover new stuff about culture and mythology because so many of these guys are inspired by IRL cryptids and legends. And so is this guy. But what exactly is a golem? A golem is a being made of mud or clay brought to life by writing letters of the ancient Hebrew alphabet on a piece of paper to form a Shem, or one of God's many names. The parchment was then placed on the golem's forehead or mouth to bring it to life. In other versions of the legend, words are inscribed on the golem itself to activate it, such as the word emet, which means truth in Hebrew. Only rabbis and Kabbalists can create golems through Kabbalah or Jewish mysticism. These kind of people are well versed in holy texts and through their proximity to God, can manage to imitate the process of creating life. Albeit said life is soulless because humans can't control or understand living beings like God can. In addition to not having a soul, golems are also speechless. They're typically larger than the average person and have the strength to match. They can smash buildings, toss boulders, and uproot trees with ease. They're also normally completely obedient to their masters. Normally, except in some cases which we'll get to later. Also, for all their strength, they're not really that sharp. When given a task, they usually take instructions literally. For example, if I say, order the golem to go fuck himself, let's not imagine what would happen. There's a lot of legends and stories surrounding golems. After reading through some of them, I noticed a trend. Golems are usually killed or destroyed by their creators for one of two reasons. Either they make life too easy for lazy people because they literally let the golem do everything for them, or the golem goes berserk and wrecks everything and everyone. Speaking of killing, let's talk about how to do that. To the golem. I mean, how to kill or deactivate a golem, not murdering people, don't do that. Except to a rampaging golem. To stop a golem, you need to remove the Shem parchment from its body, or change the word emet by removing one letter so that the inscription means death instead of truth. Depending on the material they're made of, they may or may not crumble after you do this. The most well-known story about the golem was penned by Jewish-German folklore writers in the 1830s and 1840s. Jewish-German. What a juxtaposition. Sorry, back to the golems. The story goes that Judah Lo ben Bezalel, also known as Maharal or teacher, was the 16th century rabbi of Prague. Through a ritual, he created a golem named Joseph from the mud that lined the banks of Vltava River to protect the Jews in Prague from anti-Semitic attacks. Depending on the version of the story, the Jews were either to be expelled or killed under orders from the Roman Emperor Rudolph II. In addition to strong-arming the Jews' enemies into submission, Joseph was even purportedly said to have the abilities to turn invisible and summon spirits. The Maharal would let Joseph rest each Sabbath day or Saturday by removing Joseph's Shem every Friday. How Joseph's end came varies. One version says that the rabbi simply forgot to remove the Shem one Friday and feared that Joseph would desecrate the Sabbath. Another version says that Joseph fell in love but was rejected by a woman, which caused him to go into a frenzy. One take on the story even skips the love part and just said that the golem went on a murderous rampage and prompted. In any case, the story ends with the Maharal pulling Joseph's Shem out in front of the synagogue. Joseph's body was reportedly stored in the attic storage room of the Old New Synagogue, or Altne Shul in Josephov, where Joseph would be revived again if needed be. Though why anyone would want to revive a 10-foot murder machine is beyond me. Interestingly enough, the main book that this legend comes from is widely considered as a hoax. Also, the Maharal himself never mentioned a golem in any of his writings, and no Hebrew literature concerning golems before the 1830s ever mentioned the Maharal. Add that to the fact that no evidence of the golem in Altne Shul's attic was ever found, making the golem's most famous story debunked. Real or not, the golem has forged its way into pop culture through countless reiterations in games, movies, and books, and given their capacity for havoc, maybe it's a good thing that the existence of the golem is limited to fiction.